Your podcast posts?
It's a comfortable couch.
Yeah. It's funny that you fit really nicely on one.
You mix
exactly.
it.
This is totally
It
comfortable.
makes you make the couch look insanely large. Welcome to the Best Hour of Their Day podcast with your host, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
As both coaches and affiliate owners
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day.
Welcome back to Best Hour of Their Day. Got a special episode in person. Fern, KG, Miss Steinspring.
KGS?
Kegs,
Hyphenate?
Actually, Catherine Elaine Galley,
Springsteen. Either way,
Yep.
it's still S. Still an S on there.
The people have been missing you.
Yeah.
Have they?
No, not really. But there might
really
be.
didn't notice I was gone.
Yeah.
They were like, "Where's that young Katie been?"
Yeah.
Well, you know where she's been? She's been in Austin, Texas, with us, hanging with the boys. What is that like? What's it like hanging? 1, 2, 3, 4. You've been pretty. Who's the sixth?
It is Anasan, Ernie, you guys, Marcus, Nate.
No. Oh yeah, I forgot Nate. Okay, it was 6. You're right. You went you guys, and like 3 fingers just flew up. What's that like being the only female on the trip? Is it fun?
It's great.
No. What's
That sounded
Best
suspect.
time ever.
what's the
Sounds
best thing
suspect.
about being the only female?
What's the worst thing about being
And what's
the
the
only
worst
gosh,
thing?
I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah. Hot seat.
Well, okay.
You can't talk.
Yeah.
You can't talk girl stuff.
We only have 2 bathrooms, and
Yeah.
you have one to yourself.
That's not
So
true. I've been
I'm-
sharing a
is-
little bit with these
I
guys.
share it with 5 other guys or 4 others.
So what you're saying, Katie,
that
is
the best
you're
part?
a team
It's
player.
not the best part.
You're a team player, and Jay's not. Yeah. We've decided that we're no longer doing Airbnbs because Jay, in all of his influencer diva, always needs to have the master bedroom. And as of this trip, I'm canning that request.
I'm all for
It's
not
no more.
having an Airbnb.
Um,
I'm all
so-
for that. So that was the best. What's the worst?
No.
That was the
That's
worst.
the worst.
That was the worst. Yeah.
How would that be the best?
Not.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You get to
You've.
sit and pee, that type of stuff.
It's great. It's awesome. The best part, I mean, there's a lot of bests. This is my first time at Rogue. This is really cool.
You didn't
The-
you didn't get to
we
see a
didn't,
lot.
but still just being part of this.
We
got
get
to
2
go-
afternoons. Nothing
Yeah.
crazy.
But getting to go see a bunch of boxes. I mean, just being a part of this is really
I-
kind of awesome.
I wanted to leave early today. And
You always want to leave.
I could
early.
tell Katie was like, I really want to
I
see
just wanted to
this
see
last.
the end.
Like I want to see one heat. And you saw Tia win.
Yeah.
This is coming out before everything else, correct?
Who knows?
Who knows? Katie actually knows. Is this
Yeah,
coming up?
the plan was that this would be released before
This
everything
is
else.
our
So
pre-cap
our pre-cap. Oh, before we release, yeah, all the other stuff.
because we got a lot of news coming out. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But before we going back to what you said about the dropping in of boxes,
Mhm.
Miss Steinspring over here, quite the competitor, eh, Fern?
She dusted both of us.
She beat us. Well, she didn't
Well,
beat you. for
technically.
the record.
Technically. She did move on to follow-on movements prior to me moving, which was caught me off guard.
I was a little surprised at how slow you were at box jumps.
So was I, so was I. He's a
D1
Division I basketball player.
basketball.
I don't do a lot of that anymore, and I will tell you this: my cardiorespiratory endurance is complete garbage. So it has everything to do with my conditioning in general.
Yeah, he
Um,
started those before me,
Mhm.
and they were 30-inch box jumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like your whole height.
That was bigger than me, and I
Right.
and I beat him off those. He wound up winning.
In
But
my
you-
defense, I did all the reps.
Yeah. But you
I
beat the
was-
girls.
Well, I also got to those box jumps after both of you, and I beat you too. I'm just throwing that in there.
Well, is that a
Off the box
reflection
jumps.
of their box jumps or your lack of ability in handstand push-ups?
Okay, it took me, but you have a lot shorter range of motion.
He has
Yeah.
zero chance. I mean, if he just extends his arms all the way and puts them overhead, he's like a baby.
In,
Yeah.
Where he can't like touch his hands.
in
They're
my
just-
mind, seeing you both at the handstand push-ups before me, I was like internally laughing
Like it's
because
fine.
I was like, I know I'm catching up on those. Like I don't
Well,
know. I don't
normally,
even know where you are, but I'm going to beat you at the
well,
handstand
normally
push-ups.
I don't think normally you would have, but I was legit doing 5s. Like I would,
Oh, normally you would have went unbroken. You just
no,
decided
I
not to.
definitely wouldn't have gone unbroken to to do 40, but I would have done 10 to 15 in a.
Why
in a
didn't
set.
you?
I don't have that endurance at this point.
So that's not, you can't say normally I would have been faster. You
Right.
can't just say that.
If I was training, it's not. So my point is, it's not lack of ability, right?
Well, technically, that's exactly what it is.
No, it's not. It's lack of aerobic capacity.
Lack of okay.
You know,
Semantics.
we should, I'm gonna throw this out there.
What?
You guys should train. We're planning to do stuff coming up in the new year. We should find a local competition. You guys should enter as a team.
I mean, if
As a
that,
team,
Yeah,
if that's the
like
deal,
team.
listen, I'm not gonna have this dude drag me down, because if we're doing that, I'm gonna train.
there's teams in Colorado. There's team comps in Colorado.
There's team comps everywhere. I just hosted one. What are you talking about?
No, they only exist in.
Yeah.
Well, you're breaking news. You're
I didn't give it.
what's the
I said,
term? You're leading. What's the thing? What's that term in the
I
news?
don't know.
Honest on what did they say?
Breaking news.
breaking news?
No. Kind of like spoiler
That's
alert,
not
but
the
it's not.
news.
Somebody, one of the listeners will know what I'm trying to say.
Sneak peek.
No, it's like when you put the cart ahead of the horse, but that's not the term I'm trying to say.
Leading them on?
Well, it's kind of like I'll think about it later. Anyway, you are doing a spoiler alert, which is we're going to be in Colorado in January.
I didn't say where we were gonna be. You said
Well,
where we were gonna be.
Listen, everybody. Jay.
We're all a little cranky at this point.
No, we're not cranky. Jay just doesn't know what he's doing. So we have plans for 2 future trips in the very near future that are going to be really awesome.
Future trips in the near future, eh?
Yeah.
It was to the
Yeah, versus the past. Well, they could be in the distant future, or they could be the near future, because
We have
There's
upcoming
two-
trips.
right. But these are like soon, not like end of 2022.
Where are we going?
Well, we need to lock those down yet, so we're not going to say where we're going because
Colorado.
right. Well, we might not be going to Colorado now, because you probably just jinxed us the way you do, because we have done. This is the guy. So I'm going to give you guys a little insight into Jason Ackerman. Not that you don't probably already make this assumption about him, but he's the guy that will suggest an idea,
Mhm.
right?
Good
That
idea.
may or may not be good, for the record. Like, it's a coin toss. And then from there, immediately go into this crazy mood. He's like, we need to start planning like right now. I'm like, we just made that decision 30 seconds
That's
ago.
a good idea.
And you're manic is like, hey, we need to start. And when he says we need to start planning,
You.
right.
Everybody-
You're
Yeah,
in charge of that.
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Everybody else but
right.
you.
Yeah.
I delegated.
At which
it.
point I don't pay attention to you anymore, because you're just like ridiculous. He was in charge of the schedule. Anytime I asked him what we were doing today, he had no idea.
It was on the schedule.
Yeah, it was on the
Hey.
schedule.
Did I do a good job with the schedule?
Schedule's great.
So we're potentially going to Colorado and another spot in March, but right now we're talking about the fact that we just went to the Rogue Invitational. We have some amazing content coming out. We've also got a complete relaunch of Affiliate U, where we're helping, affiliate owners and box owners improve their box, creating world-class affiliates. But we're going to talk a little bit about a few of the stops we made. We'll talk a little bit about the people we've met. And if you guys want, I mean, I didn't have it on the agenda, but if you want to talk about when I won the workout at
Yeah, we don't.
CrossFit Hutto,
Here's what people want to know.
we can talk about that.
Yeah, I'll save everybody your complete self-pandering.
315 for 3.
Is
That's
what I'm excited about is, if you do not watch the podcast on YouTube, you are absolutely going to want to do
You're a
that.
turd. Say
Yeah.
it. Say it, but you mean
Yeah, you might be a turd.
You're a turd.
But
You're
no,
like INV 1245.
yeah, I mean 245. So we brought our videographer for this one,
Nathan,
and
one of the men.
right, and the content is gonna be so badass.
It's the
But
best thing they will ever see.
maybe,
And I'm not even being hyperbolic.
yeah. But you don't understand the meaning of
That's like when
hyperbolic
you
then.
claimed if you listen to this podcast, you will pass the level 3. Like you
That's
said
a
that.
fact.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Go
That's
back
a
and listen
fact.
from episode
I
1 till
feel
now.
you're this is like a scene out of Princess Bride, when you keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
These
Um,
episodes will blow your mind.
They're going to be, I think everybody will thoroughly enjoy them. I think there has been a significant void in the CrossFit content space, particularly in the podcast space of in-person podcasting. We are going hard back into that realm, doing a lot of very CrossFit centric people, OGs, like old school gyms, games athletes. We spent almost damn near a whole day on it. with John, who's the chief fitness officer at On It. That was an amazing day.
That was awesome.
That was an awesome day. The content that will come out of that is great. We were at CrossFit Central. We had an amazing conference or conversation with Jeremy Thiel. We
OG.
went to, yeah, super OG. We went to Yakaru.
One of those.
Yeah, one of those two. Car. Yeah. Also,
Winchester.
yeah, Mike Winchester. They sent a team to the games. They have a competitive gym, but I think everybody's really, really going to dig the new format and what that looks like moving forward. And that's kind of one of our big pushes for 2022 is really, really upgrading the content so that's not just hearing, a podcast, but like it has a tremendous visual aspect to it.
Yeah. So if you don't already subscribe on YouTube, it's not only the podcast, but tons of other content.
Right.
Like Fern mentioned On It. The interview with John will certainly be on the podcast
Dropping
platform
in
you use,
episodes.
but what's that?
The dropping in episodes too.
Yeah, but the dropping in episodes and some of the fun stuff we did at the Rogue Invitational and other places that we went are only going to be on our YouTube channel. So like you said, there's kind of been a void in this space. The space is really only at the moment elite athletes.
Right. It was like Buttery Bros, but there's nothing that I look at and I go on there and I'm like, this is super coach centered. I mean, they're actually, I'll give Training Thing Take a shout out. Like, I think they do a good job with their podcast. Like, I think it's really well done. CPT does a good job with that. But not for affiliate owners.
Not really where we're trying to give valuable information and lessons
Right.
and things that they can integrate, whether with their coaching staff or decor or programming, things that they can implement at their box.
Yeah. And this has always been kind of the vision is for us to be kind of the, scout for all of the affiliates, like expose them to different ideas, whether it's training methodologies or mindset or what your gym layout should be, or, or how you structure your coaching staff, like is to let people peek inside some of the minds of people that are doing things really, really well. And some people do one thing really, really well. And some people do numerous things really, really well. But, selfishly, it's super fun. We're just happy that we're able to put the team together. Like Nate, the videographer, does like world-class shit. Like it's going to be really, really good.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see it. And then we have Marcus, of course. Marcus, OG in the space, kind of our CEO. If
we're gonna do one just with Marcus, because I like to describe Marcus as the most interesting man in CrossFit that you don't know.
Oh yeah, and he's been around, and
yeah,
I mean, to that point, we show up at a box, and I mean, granted, most of the people were there to see me, but people did.
Does it ever get exhausting?
Getting that much of an influencer?
Right. No. Does it ever
Yeah,
like?
it does. To be quite honest,
does it ever get exhausting to talk about yourself?
No, not at all. It actually energizes me.
I can't believe you waited this long to tell people how you were introduced at Karhu.
Oh yeah, save that for a moment.
Yeah.
No, but we were at Hutto,
Mhm.
and somebody's like, "I know you," to Marcus. Did you?
To Marcus?
Yeah, they recognized Marcus.
Yeah. Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. And it's because he was involved in Barbell for Boobs back in the day. Yes.
Way back in the day, like the launch of Barbells for Boobs.
At Karhu, where Katie had the suspect bar muscle ups, the coach introduced me as a level 4 coach. And I think I did.
And nobody knew what that meant.
Nobody.
It's not real.
Most people were
Everybody's like, that's
unimpressed.
not a thing.
I will admit that.
No, not
People were
most.
like,
Not most. Absolutely everybody.
I was the only one impressed.
Yeah.
But it was funny because it was kind of like fart in church. One
Yeah.
of those scenarios.
Everyone's like,
okay, can we work
"Oh,
out now?"
cool,
Like,
yeah.
But it was fun to have that happen, and I think every buck should do that going forward.
Introduce a level 4.
Fern introduced me to this girl at at Hutto, and she was like, is that a thing? Remember that guy? And the girl was like, wait, is it a thing?
Is it really a thing? I think I've done a good job.
Fern
dispelling
is
that.
single-handedly destroying the education department of CrossFit. Nicole Carroll, if you're listening, you may want to have a chat.
You can't destroy something that doesn't exist. You've knocked down my imaginary castle.
Katie, what was your outside of the time in the bathroom? What was what was some of your favorite things that we did here? They're gonna see on video, especially.
Yeah. The dropping ins were really cool at Hutto. On it was just unreal. I'd never seen a facility like that
That was
before.
crazy, yeah.
just
Well-
seeing it with like the gym and then just all of the different components of it, but to the office space.
Would you like
inside.
better, the mace or the clubs?
I like the mace better.
The mace was cool.
Yeah.
Would you use one, Fern?
Oh, I want to. I think I'm going to take the courses first,
Yeah, I'd like
and
to
then
do that.
figure out where, because I do think I would like to sprinkle those in, because we talked about it on the podcast, and that I thought that was a fantastic podcast with John Wolf,
That
who's
was
a
a good one.
who's just a brainiac and a Goliath in the fitness space. And if you don't know who he is, like, you should probably look into
He's-
that dude.
I don't like to say this, but he has way more followers than me.
Well, yeah, everybody has more followers than you. Yeah,
And funny story, we were like hanging out with him, and he's like, "Oh, fucking Lance just texted me."
Lance Armstrong.
we're like, Lance
yeah,
Armstrong?
Yeah, this dude has
And he
trained
didn't-
everybody.
What was funny is John just like swipe.
Yeah, he didn't even respond. He was just like, yeah, later, dude.
I was like, we were like, what does he want? He's like, free shit. But he's like, he trains a lot of
Really,
impressive
yeah.
athletes.
He's trained some legit world class athletes, and he put us through a training session, which you'll see a lot of. It was a 2-hour training.
dude.
session.
I was
I was
brain
dying.
dead
I was dying
because
I was mentally exhausted.
I
from
was
it.
exhausted. And for the listeners, like part of what you'll see is these are movements they were 15 pounds for the record.
the mace.
right?
Yeah, 15-pound mace.
Yeah, and it's like it wasn't hard. Even the hardest thing we did was like you were slightly out of breath, but it was like you're thinking
I mean,
so much.
just say it. I'm far more athletic than you are, and there were some things you're doing in there. I was like, do I know how to do things?
I was beating. Well, Katie was winning.
Yeah.
You,
I was.
but I was a close second on
What-
some of those.
You beat me on one of the in the AMRAP or whatever that
Yeah.
was, and one round. And it's because I couldn't figure out where my feet were supposed to go.
Yeah, that was.
yeah. And then once I figured that out, it was we were.
I was
we were
like,
tied.
once I did see you figure that out, I was like, shit. Um,
Watching you guys try to do the duck walks, I thought I was doing it wrong, but it turns out you guys were just that bad. trying to do that.
yeah.
so much of it was hard. What about that awkward moment on it when Nate, our videographer, met Primal Swolger?
Yeah. He's like, hey, what's up,
His
bro?
finger.
I didn't know
What's
who
up?
that guy was, and Nate was like, "I follow you on Instagram." And he was like, "Okay." So does a million other people.
Literally a million. Yeah.
But- that facility was great. We could have spent days and days there.
And then the place next door where we actually recorded the podcast is like a functional wellness center, which is like out of this world.
I was texting Gunter today.
Were you?
Yeah, no, I was really because we had mentioned maybe going. So I said, "Hey, just so you know, we're not going to make it, but everybody on the team really loved the place." And he was like, "Oh, that means so much." Like I would come back to Austin
Just for that?
Yeah,
Like not even joking.
mostly for the psychedelics, but then also
Right.
for the ice bath and the
Yeah.
sauna. It's a place where like I feel like you would just hang out all day.
Probably.
You'd wake
yeah.
up, I would go to On It, I would get a cold brew coffee, I would do a workout,
Right.
and then I would get one of their shakes, go to Koya, and then just spend all day there.
Because it's a co-working space too, right? Isn't that? the-
Yeah, and
Is that what
maybe
upstairs
sprinkle in
is?
a little.
Maybe do work.
Katie,
Yeah.
Katie's like,
Oh, I
"Would you
thought
work?"
you were
Jay?"
going there to do work. You
No,
just
no,
go in there to
ice
spend the
tub,
day. Okay,
sauna.
okay.
Yeah, they have infrared saunas, they have ice tubs, they have the tanks, the
Sensory-
Oh, sensory tanks?
sensory
Yeah, I wanna
deprivation
get one of
tanks.
those,
They
yeah.
have and they have like physicians on staff, they do a bunch of stuff. But what's cool about that area that they have there, so they have On It directly next door, they have Kuya, and then directly caddy
Across the
corner
street.
across the street, they have 10th Planet.
And then,
Um
like in that same development is Joe Rogan's studio.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
he
he
said
was
it was
saying, like,
down the way
yeah, down-
somewhere. I don't
yeah.
know if it's in that same one, it's very close, but then what he say was like, yeah, don't try to go in there.
Katie, what was your favorite food?
My favorite food.
I
that
know what
day.
it was.
What was it?
Terry Black's. What was
Terry
it called?
Black's.
Yeah, Terry Black's
Black's.
barbecue was so good. But
Pecan pie.
yeah, that was
Katie
good.
can throw down some food, by the way.
I can. But all the fried pickles, like
Oh
like,
yeah,
just
she
We
loves
had a
these
lot of
fried
fried
pickles.
pickles.
fried pickles. Yeah, they were good.
Spears and
Slices. yeah,
chips.
Slices.
The chips
yeah.
were better at that steakhouse. And we met some
Yeah.
old friends of mine. He's
Mhm.
gonna be on the podcast, Kevin Houston. What'd you guys learn about me?
That
A
you're
lot.
that you're just as not good at that as I thought you were.
Based on what you heard from Kevin, better, worse, or the same of what you thought I did as a box owner.
The same. I didn't think you were actually good at it.
So You did, so you had already figured I was bad. So it didn't like it
Right.
wasn't worse because you already had me pegged as bad.
Right. But I've told you that.
How now based on that, how impressed are you of how successful the box was?
Not, but we talked about it in the podcast. I'm not. You can be bad and successful at the same time because what we talked about is like right time, right place. And I don't knock anybody for that. Like but we would agree. Had you run it like that now, that would have been catastrophic.
I think other than being canceled, I could have done it.
No, you would have like everything about what you did would not jive right now.
I think I could do
Not for
like
bad reasons. Like I just like it just wouldn't have
everyone in
served-
this room is shaking their head at me.
Yeah, no, it just like that wouldn't fly right now. Like it would fall apart.
Prove
You
you
would-
wrong. Best
you-
hour CrossFit is gonna run.
No, because you would literally again it's right time, right place. Like you got in there, and kudos to you. Sometimes you don't have to be best. Sometimes you got to be first, right? And I think you were first in that scenario. Now, in a lot of instances, first doesn't equal best. Like Magic Cab. Does anybody know who that is? No. You know who Uber is though, right?
Oh, is Magic Cab?
Magic
For
Cab was
Uber?
was the Uber before Uber was Uber. But the point is like, there you did virtually everything that we tell people not to do back
Mhm.
then, and you made it. And I'm like, good for you. Great.
What are you gonna say, Katie?
Well, I was gonna say because I've read the Best Hour of Their Day book, and
How many
reading
times?
it. Just
I've not.
once.
I
Just
just wrote the
once.
forward. Yeah.
Fern, why won't you read it?
I know. I already know the stories. I live it.
But reading it, and then knowing who you are today, it's hard to believe that that was who you are. But then
Really?
truly, I think so because it seems like that's not who you, in all seriousness, not who you are as a leader today. But then Kevin telling those stories, it was like you hear the cringiness of what you actually did.
It's a high
And then
level
it's like,
of cringe.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you truly have then, if that really was the reality,
Well, that was real.
like come a long way.
It was actually
yeah.
that was the PG version.
Oh yeah. I mean, in fairness, like Kevin did not share some stories that we should not share.
Yeah, they're not appropriate.
Yeah, they're not appropriate. So yeah, whatever number you're at, bring it down like 2 or 3. That's how bad it was. Like if you were like you were a 2,
We're in the negatives.
I was
now.
in the negatives. We've talked about what office character we would be. Would I be Michael Scott
Yes.
officially?
Yeah, officially after hearing that episode. Yeah.
There you go, Fern.
No,
Wh-
done.
When the show comes out,
I'll be Ryan.
he would be Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
actually, I
Jim.
would definitely.
You're
be
He's
Jim.
of
Jim.
course.
Yeah.
This is a great Mike and Jim, and you're Pam.
I've been told before that I'm more like Dwight.
You are
I
kind
have
of
You
Dwight-
are
I have
kind of like
Dwight-esque
you're
to
kind of
me.
you are kind of a Dwight.
You're
But-
a little awkward, yeah.
A little bit.
Very.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people are really gonna dig, just the interaction. Like if obviously not everybody does podcasts, but there's a significant difference when you
In
do the
person.
person. Yeah, I mean the interaction, the vibe you get from people, is way different. I think the conversations are better. And then Nate did just seeing like the minimal amount of stuff that he got on camera, I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is really cool.
Yeah, and let's not forget we had Ben Javolski
Mhm.
from Wad
From
Prep.
Wad Prep.
That was
Great conversation.
That was
We did that
great.
podcast this morning. This is our third podcast today.
This is our 3rd podcast. Yeah. And forgetting, like you mentioned, we went to CrossFit Central, Jeremy Thiel. We had an OG
Awesome. Yeah,
conversation.
I mean, we went way back in the Wayback Machine. for that.
2007
Yeah,
CrossFit
we
Games.
went 14 years back in the machine for that.
Isn't that crazy? 14 years
Yeah.
ago. It
Yeah.
truly feels like yesterday I was hitting refresh in 2008 to see the results.
Main site
Which
results
is either,
for what?
so in 2008, the results were
For
like
what?
literally a spreadsheet that was repopulating.
The results for what?
The
is my-
2008
for the
CrossFit
games.
Games.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, refresh, who's winning this 3rd event? And I remember it was like late at night, finally, like the top 10 came out. Like that was it. That's how you found out who was winning.
Jeez, the times were weird back. I remember the first day I walked into CrossFit Virginia Beach sometime in 2008, and Tommy Gill was working there, and Pat Shore was sitting back in the office, and she was like, because it's Tommy, but she's like, do you follow Main Site? And I just instinctively picked up that the right answer I should give at that point it was yes. I was like, oh yeah, and she's like, oh okay, so you know what you're doing? I was like, yeah, probably, and then proceeded to get decimated by the workout that day. JT,
JT on day 1.
37 minutes. Which
it's
is
a
not-
lot of failed push-ups.
it's not good for anybody who's never done that work. It's not what we
Yeah,
would
like
call
in
an
the sixes
impressive
these
time.
days is like
Yeah.
doable.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be great. And then the other stuff we're working on, obviously we just did a full revamp on Affiliate U, and that is going to be off the charts good. I think we changed the format for it. It's going to be really, really badass, because that's always been the goal, is to help affiliate owners. And as we've put, well over 100 boxes through it, we're like, hey, there's some things here that we could tune up to make it better, to get people where they need to go a little bit more efficiently, less hiccups, less snafus, if you will, just on the back end. Like, it's anytime you build a course, there's way more moving parts than you think there are before you set out to do something like that. But I think it's safe to say, because I've taken all the other courses, I think.
All of them.
You
have truly invested in your affiliates growth.
I spent tens of thousands of dollars on that.
Yeah.
This one will be top of the heap, and it won't even be close.
And this isn't even mentioning the fact that we have our real secret thing coming out.
My secret thing.
Our secret
Yeah,
thing.
my secret thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Whose idea was it, Katie?
It was mine.
Well played, Katie. Well played. Well played.
No, we got, but going back to the affiliates, I mean, we got a text today, biggest month ever. Like, you and I get texts like that regularly. And it's like, yeah, no shit. You listen to two of the best. That's what I say. Is that how you handle that?
No, it's not how I handle it all.
Well, I do.
Which is why a lot of people, when they come into affiliate, they're like, hey, can I work with you?
Can I pay extra to get Fern?
Yeah, can I pay? And I'm like, listen, you can only work with me if you tell Jay directly that you prefer to work with me.
No, I mean, we talked about it on the episode with Kevin. It's like, everybody needs a mentor. What'd you say? Like, the quickest path to gaining knowledge is finding someone smarter than you.
Yeah, it's you can do it one of two ways, and there's nothing else, right? I can work it out through my own experiences, or I can take other people's experiences and have them help me along the way. And that's what we're trying to improve, is trying to make the content more digestible, more actionable, and more efficient in the course, so that people can get to it, in addition to lengthening the course and changing what is currently called phase 2, so that it's far more interactive. So, not that it's everybody that's already been through it, like, got the same thing. It's just, it's going to be delivered in a prettier package. Is that fair, Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah. So
I have a question for you guys.
Oh,
shit.
This is a real question.
okay.
Okay. So, being someone who's been in the CrossFit space only for the last few years, you guys have been in it forever,
Ever.
like since its inception.
We
And then
created it.
you created CrossFit.
Everybody said it was Greg. It was actually Jay.
And then being around people throughout this weekend, who've also been in the space in some shape, form, or fashion since its inception, but then have grown and shifted to where we are today. So and a lot of people, either by choice or whatever, along their own journeys, stepped out of the CrossFit space or were no longer in it. So what did it take to, or I guess, yeah, for you guys, and then maybe for those that you were able to speak with this weekend, what do you think it took to stay in the space for that long? Whether as an affiliate owner, a coach, part of CrossFit, because you've been in like the CrossFit for 14 years. That's a long time.
Do you want to go first?
I think part of it is never thinking you're better than the thing. So I think, some of the people that have left or shifted gears, like, when Kevin, for example, was talking about, like, I quit CrossFit. Like, I see the places I've seen that happen is when people don't make it on seminar staff. And then they're like, I'm not that good at this thing, so maybe I'll find something else.
Mhm.
And it's like, or just work harder and get better at it. I've seen, right? Have you seen that happen?
Mhm.
Like, people like try for it. They're like, I really want to make it. They don't make it. And they're like, fuck this thing. And it's like, so, I think that's part of it. Like, we always knew, like, the greater good was CrossFit, and we're working to get everybody else greater than that, but we're not better than that individually. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. Like, never, CrossFit's always kind of been like the North Star. Like, we talked about it in the interview with Mike at Carhu. Like, we didn't waver. Like, whether or not you like the man or whatever happened, the methodology works and it changes lives. So I think that was really it. Just always remembering that the main thing is the main thing.
I think it's the same thing that's required to be good at anything. I think you have to have a certain level of resilience, and I think you have to have a willingness to learn, and that insert whatever it is you're trying to do into that, like affiliate ownership, basketball, jujitsu, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. And I know our goal from the get-go has been to just expose people to the ideas and the experience of others who have done it well. Like Jeremy Thiel, like he was talking about 2014, they were running a $2 million business in 2014, and I don't, that people hear that number. For the record, that's $166,000 a month in revenue. Right. So people don't think that's possible. It is possible. Obviously, there's some differences there. He's in a major metropolitan area, but whatever, it's all relative is the way to think about that. And that's always been our goal. That's why we started the podcast, is because we were having these conversations. We were in the room with people who were really smart, really successful, had figured a lot of things out. And that continues to be the goal, is to continue to have those conversations, but share them with the world and then teach people how to do it. And that's been the driving force. Even before I think we were both trying to do that in some way, shape, or form. And then we ended up pressing go on the podcast. And then, that was lent itself into a mentor program. And then, we dabbled in programming for a little bit. And then we kicked off Affiliate U. And then that led to, the second version of it. And then to, the kind of the coaching subscription that we'll launch early next year, that I made up. But Jay is going to try to claim. I might even give that to you just to give you a win. But all that stuff, it's all to bring up the overall community.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like you mentioned those other things, which were kind of just like little pit stops along the way, but I think all signs pointed towards affiliate coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other affiliate coaches obviously around, but I think what separates Fern and I and what we continue to hear in the community is like, wow, you guys are CrossFit.
Mhm.
Like to a point, like to a fault, like other businesses have reached out and Fern says no. Like, we had that doggy daycare that wanted us to coach them.
Yeah,
And I was
Jay
like, let's do
He's
it.
like, should we do this doggy take care? I was like, no.
Yeah.
Why would we do, what the fuck? Just because you have 3 dogs, Jay, doesn't mean that we could do doggy daycare.
And like, we still preach, whether it's one workout a day or, how you onboard your members, like we are still, we're always learning and trying to improve what we do, but B, we always really stand by CrossFit. And I think not many other people are doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's fine. I don't fault anybody for that. People have other passions that I encourage them to pursue, but this is ours.
What about you?
What about me?
What do you think? What keeps us around?
What do I think keeps you guys around?
Yeah.
Well, truly, I think it's what you just said. So, not being necessarily married to this is the exact course I have to take. It's knowing, okay, CrossFit is at its core what you guys do and what Best Hour is about. But then you both took your own individual paths that ultimately led you to realize coaching affiliate owners and coaches is what we want to do. But you didn't just arrive at that on day one. It took you this many years to actually get there. And you're still refining what that looks like. And we'll continue to refine for years to come.
And the thing at the end of the day, we live it. Like whether it was at Carhu or at Onnit or at Hutto, I can't speak for Fern, or you, but I know for me, it's like when we're in that class, it's truly the best hour of my day.
Mhm.
And I think knowing how that feels for us makes us want to have other people experience it, but also help the next generation provide that. And because like we've kind of talked about, however you want to spin it, that hour impacts the rest of your day. It starts in that 1 hour, but you can be a better person, husband, wife, father, mom, employer if you are doing that 1 hour, but you need good leaders in there and good coaches to do it.
Yeah, I think I'm just really excited for 2022 with the stuff we have coming out. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of work getting some of the stuff built and rebuilt, and then getting the new ideas rolled out so that we can continue to provide more and more and more value. But I think it's going to be really, really fun. Because that's what we like doing anyway. Just interacting in the community and helping other people.
I think you literally practice what you preach, you put out there, like discovering your own why and then being driven by that. And that's very obviously what you're doing. And why then, even though it's a ton of work putting into what's going to come out next year, you're doing it because you know it's what you were meant to do.
All right. Well, with that being said, I think it's time to eat some donuts.
Fern already ate your donuts.
Did you eat my donut? Did you eat my donut?
I ate one of them. I didn't know it was yours.
The fritter?
No, the fritter's still
That's
there.
still
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Oh, you ate the other one?
Yeah,
The other
yeah.
one that I got?
Yeah.
I was like,
literally
oh, you got
said-
3.
Fern, it's like, oh, we got 3 donuts. I was like, oh, Jay actually got 2. He's like, no, F that guy. That's good.
That's the story of my life.
She is not lying. Yeah, that's definitely what it is.
Literally word for word.
I was
Oh, I
like-
believed her.
Yeah, yeah.
I believed
I was
her.
like, he just ordered that out of guilt. I'm gonna eat that because that's what he got it. He got it because we got it,
Yeah.
but he really just wanted the fritter
I got it because we had a $5
gift card.
gift card.
Oh, well, then I definitely don't feel bad about it now. I feel like we have to spend this.
I just want the fritter.
And then the guy gave us a whole bag of donut holes for 17 cents.
Yeah. That guy. All right.
Nice
Well, like Fern said numerous times, we got great things coming. Please, if you haven't already, go to our YouTube
Yep.
channel, Best Hour of Their Day. Hit the subscribe button because we're going to have content dropping on the regular for the next couple weeks, months. And then by the time we're done with that stuff, we're going to be putting out new stuff. And this is going to be consistently happening and you're going to want to see it all. So don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube and continue to listen to us on any podcast platform.
Yeah. And if you've been stalking us about Affiliate U, now's the time. Hit us up. We're happy to chat with you. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.